it's hard to stay motivated and consistent off season. When you got a show,
Mm-hmm.
it's different. I get that. I'm doing a lot of oils, carbohydrates. I'm feeding the body, but not just the body. I'm trying to feed the connective tissue too.
Hey, there I am. Look at that. That's a plate of Kentucky there.
Woo. Is that a shoot with Robert Reef?
Began late and have a burger, and then I'm bloated again. Then it's dinner time, and I'm like, shit, this was my cheat day, and I've only had about 2,000 calories. I've eaten less than I would have eaten if I was eating my clean food. It's just that.
Okay, so because I think I have the hardest time telling new age people today or communicating this to today's world is that it is that 9 months or it's the year or it's the 2 years off season and just get ready for one show is such a hard sale because today they want it now. I want to get it now. I want to do a show now. And you were just saying something. I can just hear the fans going, listen, I can take the whole year off, get on some gear, diet for 3 months and do a show. Yeah, you can, but you're going to retain nothing after the show. And you're going to look, it's going to be just short lived. And I always say, and I want people to understand, Lee is strong today. Lee is developed today because it's been a consistent lifestyle. And these guys won't get that. They're just going to go, let me just do 3 months of gear and eat right. And then afterwards. And I never understood this because when I do expos like you have your whole career, and I guarantee that you've never heard this either. Nobody's ever come up to you and said, hey, listen, Lee, I'm incredible on my nutrition. I have a hard time training. Because I've never heard that. I've heard I'm an animal in the gym. I'm a freak, dude. I crush you, but I can't diet well. And so I'm just trying to get this.
And nutrition is such a huge part of it all, whether it be off season and contest time. And I know I probably could have been a little bit better. There's a few years in the off season where, of course I did so many shows. Like one year at 97, I did 11 shows that year. And because sometimes I'm so regimented on dieting and that off season, sometimes I was too relaxed. I might have breakfast and then I might have lunch and then I might just pick at food. I might have 2 meals a day and a protein drink. I figured if I was more consistent in my off season and ate regular 6 meals, I probably could have had a little bit more size. But even myself, I just couldn't be bothered because I'm so regimented contest time. I didn't want to have anything set up. I just wanted to eat when I wanted to eat and do whatever. But I still trained hard, but I could have been a bit more consistent off season myself. And what I'm seeing now, sadly, too, how everyone goes on about.
Don't run over that. Don't run over that because I hope everybody heard that. And I agree that it's hard to stay motivated and consistent off season. When you got a show, it's different. I get that. But if there's something he just said, it's if he could have done just a little better off season, he could have been a little bit better for the show. And it's a hard thing to do. Continue. Because I want you to kind of talk to them and explain to them, how can the individual be on precise when they're off season? Because it sucks.
Well, it does. But
we're eating, how do you get motivated?
Well, I think I just found that I've started doing a bit more cardio because in the off season, I like to eat big meals. And, when you're eating clean food, you can have a meal and 20, 30 minutes later, you're starving again because there's no fats in it. So sadly, some of my famous off-season meals could be some Kentucky. It's like if I eat Kentucky chicken, the fat in Kentucky chicken, I could eat that at lunchtime and I'm still bloated come 6 o'clock at night. So I don't eat till then because my stomach's still bloated. So it's just a matter of picking foods that wouldn't bloat me up too much. So if I had have eaten, like I said, a little bit of junk and good in between, I would have been a lot better. But like I said, if I had a big meal like that, that's the reason I wouldn't eat again for hours later because I'm still full and the stomach still feels bloated. Or I love milk products, even though I shouldn't have them. But if I drank a liter of milk, I wouldn't eat again for maybe 2 or 3 hours. And it's like, I'm still bloated and stuff like that. So I knew that, like I said, I could have been a lot more. Some days I'd work out my off season because you could eat it's almost like, say, when you're eating clean all the time and you think to yourself, I've got a cheat day coming up. I'd have a cheat day. And I'm like, I'm going to eat this, I'm going to eat that. And let's just say I'm dieting on 3,500 calories of good, clean food. On my cheat day, I've got all the stuff in my mind I'm going to eat. I might go have a big thing of pancakes and then I'm bloated. And then I might eat again later and have a burger and then I'm bloated again. Then it's dinner time and I'm like, shit, this was my cheat day and I've only had about 2,000 calories. I've eaten less than I would have eaten if I was eating my clean food. It's just that because you've changed the fatty foods and sodium loaded foods, you just go bleh, and you bloat up so much that, you know, it's a different type of food, but I'm eating less calories of junk. I would have been better off just eating the cleaner food and get more calories into me. So,
so we are living the same life, you and I, in that sense. It's exactly that. You're so hungry because you've been dieting. It's a cheat day.
mm-hmm.
And then you start out with something like that and you're just bloated for the next 6 hours. You're like, shoot, I just killed my whole day.
And then you're like, oh, the cheat day's almost over. I got to try and ram all this food in before I go to sleep.
What do you think is today's society on not wanting to? So you talked about milk. You talked about these products that maybe you feel you shouldn't do. So for me right now, to give you an eyesight, is I am doing the milks. I am doing a lot of oils, carbohydrates. I'm feeding the body, but not just the body. I'm trying to feed the connective tissue to just heal the body, because I did kind of what you did, where you competed those 11 shows. That is so destructive to the body. People don't realize you're in a deficit. You're in a deficit for so long. You're doing dryouts. You're killing yourself to peak, and then a couple weeks later you got to peak again, and it's just you're hurting the body. And I did that with my incredible diet in the last couple of years, and so I'm really taking my time this off season, and just going until the body kicks in, until the body utilizes that 5,000 calories, until the body doesn't feel sluggish. I'm going to stay with this and keep feeding it until it heals. And what I'm finding is that I'm starting to come out of that now. It took 3 months. It took 3 months for my body to heal from the damage I did to it from dieting so hard. And the strength and everything is getting stupid. And I can't wait till you get here, because we're going to lift. But I think I might be the strongest I've ever been, even more than the early 90s.
I'll be over there on the machines like the rehab workout. How you going, Mike? Good. Keep lifting.
Keep going. But
hold on. Let me just change the pin from 20 to 30 pounds. I'm going heavy today.
How do you think we can teach these people that there's a nice balance to food, where you shouldn't be in a deficit all the time? You shouldn't trying to be 365. I'm cutting all year. I don't think they understand what they could do to their body, especially later on.
It's that fine line, especially in the off season, where, you know, because I go from one extreme to the other because I didn't care, so I ate too much. But it's like, you don't want to get as big as I did, but you still want to have enough where, like I said, a lot of people I find, even in the off season, they might think they're eating a lot of food, but still they're just eating enough to maintain what they have. It's almost like you got to eat that little bit more. It might only be 800 calories extra a day, because you got to go over to really make sure you're not missing out on any nutrients or proteins and stuff like that. But sometimes if you go too far, like I used to, you go and get really big. So it's that fine line to knowing basically how many calories you roughly need, and then maybe just go on 800, 1,000 over that, which isn't really much if you're eating 5-6 meals a day. If you just had 200 calories extra to each meal, whatever, it's not really much. It could just be, you know, another cup of rice here or another piece of chicken breast on this meal. So it's easy to add that extra 1,000, and that might be all you need. But like I said, you want to have more calories, because most people I see are on that either borderline of enough calories just to maintain, or they're actually under, because like I said, they're doing what I did. They'll have a meal, and then because you feel full, you might not eat for 4 hours. So at the end of the day, you're like, I've only had 3 meals today. You add up the calories, it might be only 1,800 calories when you died on 3,000 calories. So, you know.
Right. Why not do what he did?
Why not do what he did?
Because he said he used to blow up, but
But
well, you can do what I did, but I'd go to the far extreme. Like if I used to compete at what most I competed was 218. 206 was my best, but I'd weigh sometimes 280 in the off season. So, you know, I'm like 70 odd pounds over contest weight, and hey, there I am. Look at that. That's a plate of Kentucky there. Woo.
Is that Robert Reef? Is that a shoot with Robert Reef?
Yeah, that was, I forget who did that. Could have been Irvin. That was for the before and afters for Muscle Tech, where they like really push the stomach out, Lee, here and do that sort of thing. So I'm like, they're like, we'll give you $10,000 to do these photos. I'm like, I would have done it for free. I get fat every off season. So, but the thing is, though, and that's the illusion. There I'm about 270. And when you see the transformation picture, I weigh about 210. And like I said, it's such an illusion. There I just look like a fat pig. You go, I don't know what he weighs. When you see him side by side at 210, I look twice as big and muscular as I do at 270. It's like,